Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Friday, the 29th day of April, 2022. Happy Friday. I hope you had a good weekend that is being set up for a good weekend. Before I get started, I want to let you know we're getting together here in Orlando at POPO on Sunday at 12 noon. Not the same POPO we got together with. It's the same restaurant in a different location. Email me. I'm going to put the email address in the description box. And if you were interested in coming, I sent out an email to all of the people that came last week, as well as a couple others that expressed interest in coming. So, I'm leaving Florida pretty much after Monday. I'll be going Tuesday about 3 a.m. in the morning. I'll be leaving. So, so this is our last chance to get together before I leave for now. But anyway, that's the get together at POPO in Orlando, Florida. Email me for the exact directions because I can't remember them right now, but I'll email you the email with the information in it if you email me. rawhebrewremnant12@gmail.com. So, first of all, before that, or should I say now after that, blessings upon those that are working in the healthcare field, trying every day to save lives. Blessings also upon those that are with them, the first responders, also trying to save lives. And those that pick up garbage to keep streets and sidewalks and parks clean and disease-free, as well as those that make deliveries for our convenience, and double blessings on the men and women trying to help deliver, rescue, and recover the children that are suffering from child molestation and pedophilia, and the victims also of prostitution and child prostitution, pornography and child pornography, as well as human trafficking and sex slavery, and double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts who are out here trafficking in this human misery on a daily basis. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and most importantly, children on the streets of the United States of America with no roof over their head, and millions around the world, men, women, and children in worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So interesting developments last night. So now we talked about Donovan Mitchell and we talked about Jalen Brunson, and we're going to hear a lot more about them over the next few weeks as we head toward draft night and as we head toward free agency. Dallas eliminated the Jazz in 6 games last night with a very close and hotly contested game. It was a very good game, 98-96 last night. And I observed the game, and a few things stood out to me during the course of the game. Now, if you look at the box score, you will see Jalen Brunson scored like 24, I think, and so did Luka. But if you watch the game, Brunson had to pick his spots. It was, Doncic's ball most of the time. They went with a 3-guard lineup with Dinwiddie, Brunson, as well as Doncic. And then they had a forward, basically 2 forwards in there with them. They went small, and they won the game. Now, for Utah, as an organization, this loss is a time for planning and reflection. Now, if I am, and if you are, you're the front office, which includes now Dwayne Wade and Danny Ainge, especially this Danny Ainge, very important. I'm going to tell you in a second. But if you're a part of the front office of the Utah Jazz, before this happened, you probably, if you're smart, and most of these guys are, you have plans, you have contingencies, you have plans going forward depending on which way the team goes, so that you're not waiting to this loss to make plans. You're already getting the framework of possibility A, possibility B, possibility C before the season ends. This is I don't know how many times that Utah has lost in the first round and lost in the playoffs, even if they got out of the first round. I think they went to the Western Conference Finals once in the last 5 or 10 years. But at this point, you have to make a decision. So your star player is Donovan Mitchell, obviously. He's 25 years old. Most of your other key players are late 20s, early 30s. That's a team that's built to win now. That's a veteran-laden team with the exception of Donovan Mitchell. All the rest of the guys are 28, 29, 31 in that area. And that's built to win now. It is obvious they're not good enough to win now. They're not good enough. They're not good enough to make it out of the West, and Dallas showed them that. Dallas was the 4th seed this year, but if it wasn't Dallas, it'd be somebody else, just showing you. And that's basically, I really agree with what Coach Bill Parcells used to say. You are what your record says you are. And on any particular game, their guys were better than our guys, or our guys were better than their guys. And this series, a 7-game series, shows you which team is better. It just does. And so here you have it. The Dallas Mavericks were the better team. So now if you're the Utah Jazz, you got to make decisions. If it was me, I'm rebuilding. I'm busting it up right now because you got all you could get out of your veterans, and you have your core piece in Donovan Mitchell. So I am going to try to rebuild at this point, if it's me. So now, if they're going to try to rebuild, if that's the direction they're going to go, that means they're going to have what we call in the game, what's called in the game a fire sale. So they're going to be selling assets to the highest bidder so that everybody is available. And Donovan Mitchell is the star piece. They have him locked up for at least the next 3 seasons, 3 full seasons. They have him after this one locked up. Man, we talked about this. He signed a 5-year, $163 million deal. He has a player option in 2025. At the end of that season, actually it's 2026. When he's 29, he has a player option. The next 3 years, 2022, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, Utah owns him. Okay? That's it. Now, but if you're going to rebuild, management generally, in this day and age in the NBA, generally speaking, they will approach their superstar, their young superstar at age 25. And they will sit him down and explain what the plan is. In part because you want to keep your superstar in tune with what you're planning to do as an organization. And number 2, is your young superstar going to buy in to your plan? Okay, this is very important, right? So if Donovan decides to buy in on a rebuild, then they're going to explain to him that Gobert is going. What's his name? Jordan Clarkson is going. Who else? Royce O'Neal is going. All of these guys. Bogdanovich is going. Conley is going. All of these guys are going to be moved. And you're going to be left with your young players at your low salaries. And you're going to try to get more young players and draft picks to build around Donovan Mitchell. Okay? If you're Donovan Mitchell, do you want that? And if you don't, what do you want? Now, really, there's only 2 answers to this question. And please don't come at me with the NBA 2K trades. Don't do it. I'm going to ignore you. Okay, don't do it. Let's get realistic. He's a $163 million player. You're the Utah Jazz management. You're Danny Ainge. And this is where Danny Ainge comes in. Danny Ainge. I never liked him. Personally, I never liked him he was a good player. I didn't like him then. This is when he was still out there at Brigham Young. And then when he went to Boston, I really didn't like him because he went to Boston, right? I just never liked him, but I got to give him his props. He's a cold, cutthroat executive. He has no emotions when he makes decisions. There's no loyalty. There's only winning. Okay. And you might like that or might not. I personally do not like it. I like an executive that's smart, but I wanted him to have some empathy for the players. Ainge has none. 0. Okay. So he's going to look at this coldly and he's going to make the moves as if he was a computer and not care about what people think. Okay. I mean, he's going to sit down with Donovan Mitchell because that's the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, he's going to make the decision that he feels is best for the organization, and he don't care what any player thinks. Okay. He properly evaluates the value of a player. He doesn't overhype. He doesn't underdo it. That's how he is. Okay. And so if Donovan Mitchell wants to go to a contender, that's going to be almost impossible to do. Because if you're Danny Ainge, you know how much Donovan Mitchell is worth. And what are you going to want? If you're Danny Ainge, what you want expiring contracts, draft picks a boatload, and young talent. That's what you want for all your players. But your prize, your ace, is this 25-year-old Donovan Mitchell. Now, wherever Mitchell goes, then, more than likely, it's going to be a rebuild situation. You see, LeBron, when he went to Miami, he started this trend. And I know some of y'all are going to say, well, no, this player did it before. But no. This is what LeBron did. When him, D-Wade, and Bosh got together, they took cut in their salary. They each took like $14 million apiece. 15, something in that range. And then they got a whole bunch of minimum players around them. Okay, that's what they did. Then he went, LeBron, to Cleveland. And it was him and Kyrie and Kevin Love. 3 max guys and a bunch of minimum players around them. Ring chasing veterans, usually. And that's been their trend. But not every player wants that. Not every player wants that. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell wants that. So realistically, either he's going to go to a team where they're going to set that situation up. That team's going to get rid of everybody and just have Donovan Mitchell and 2 other high-priced superstars and get a whole bunch of rookies and minimum contracts to try to win. Or he's going to go to a rebuilding team that's not Utah. That's really the choices he's got. Okay? Now, it's been rumored, of course, we've all heard he wants to come to New York. New York has a lot of draft picks. New York has a lot of expiring contracts. But what young talent will Danny Ainge try to pilfer from the Knicks to get Donovan Mitchell? It's going to hurt, y'all. I'm going to tell you, just be ready. You're not going to keep your favorite Knicks. Danny Ainge is going to coldly look at the roster. And he's going to go by age and talent and fit. And he's going to ask for those players. I don't think he's going to clear out the roster. I mean, except the veterans for the salary's sake. Like, he's got to get $30 million in contract. He's not going to want Julius Randle. He's not going to want him. He's trying to get that type of player off the team if he's rebuilding. So he's going to want expiring deals. So that means Derrick Rose. That means Alec Burks. That means Nerlens Noel. He's going to want expiring deals to match the salary of Donovan Mitchell. He's going to want at least 2 or 3 first-round picks plus second-round picks. He's going to want young players. And he's going to decide what he wants. It's not, and I'm going to tell you, if it's Danny Ainge, okay, he might take anybody. He looks at a Deuce McBride and sees a second-round pick that he ain't got to pay a lot of money for. He might want that to start his rebuild. Okay? Or he might look at Emmanuel quickly and say, I want him. And I want Obi. And I want RJ. That's going to be what the cost is here. Okay? But there's going to be, I feel like there's going to be a fire sale in Utah. How that's going to pan out with Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks, I don't know. Because, like I said, I'm thinking if it's Danny Ainge on the other side of that phone, now I'm not concerned with us getting ripped off. Because you know what? I have that kind of confidence in the Don. He ain't going to get ripped off. Okay, he just ain't. Okay, so, cause he's too smart. He ain't a dummy. He ain't a novice in this game of negotiation. So, I'm not worried about that. If it was just Scott Perry alone, I'd be confused. I'd be a little concerned, but not with the Don there. See, and not with Walt Perrin there also. So, it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks. It is, because everybody's going to be offered, and Donovan Mitchell, his future depends on Donovan Mitchell. Will he be willing to stay there as they go ahead and do this rebuild? Or is he going to want out when they do this rebuild? What team will he go to? Some people mention Miami. Okay, let's say it was Miami. If you're Ainge, what do you want? if I'm Ainge, I want as many draft picks as I can get from you. And I want Bam out of Bayou. If you Miami, you giving up Bam for Donovan Mitchell? I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. I want Bam, and give me a shooter. Give me Tyler Hero too. You want that? If you're Pat Riley, you doing that deal? I don't know. But that's what you're dealing with right now. You're talking to Danny Ainge, yo. This ain't no joke, man. Okay? So now it comes down to what is Donovan Mitchell's decision with regard to his future. He's 25. So he's not even in his prime yet. All right? He's still got 2 more years before he even reaches his prime. And he's already a superstar. So he really has got he's got it life by the gonads right now. So he's got to decide what he wants to do. He could go to a rebuilding team, and in 2 years, that team, if it's the Knicks, they could be rolling. But it depends on what it's going to cost. And it's going to cost. Now, let's talk about Jalen Brunson. What I saw from Jalen Brunson during the course of this series, obviously, he has impressed me. Beginning of this series, I did not want the Knicks to pay $80 million for him. And I was very clear about that. And the reason is because he didn't seem to me, and he still doesn't seem to me to have a lot of upside left. Okay, he has gotten the most out of his talent. I always respect the guy that got the most out of whatever God-given talent he had. But when he performed the way he did, with the poise, with the clutchness, with the just, dagger mentality, with that Kobe Mamba mentality in the playoffs, well, now we're talking something different. Okay, now we're talking something different. To me, there is no greater litmus test aside from playing in Madison Square Garden, playing in the NBA playoffs. If you're a player, if you can perform in a 6-game series the way this cat did, okay, you could play. It ain't got nothing to do with the weakness of the Jazz defense either. I'm not saying the Jazz has the best defense in the world, but if you're in the NBA playoffs and you go 6 games, you playing some defense. It's just that the Dallas offense was better. It's the playoffs. Okay, let's respect the game. Okay, so first of all, I saw Doncic dominating the ball. Now, Jalen's got a decision to make. Difference is, he's going to be unrestricted. And so now, whereas Mark Cuban could have got him last summer for $56 million, it may cost him $90 to keep him. Okay? It may cost him $90 to keep him. We were talking $80, but now he may want more than that. Why? Why would he do that? Well, let's talk about his options and his situation. First of all, we all know his history coming out of Villanova. 2nd round pick, national champion, a leader, born leader, that for sure. No doubt about his work ethic. No doubt about it. Okay. Hard worker. Gets to the best of his ability all the time. Plays the game 90% above the shoulders. You can't hardly teach that. That's a gift. Just like high IQ is a gift. He does that. Okay. So, and of course, as we know, performs in the playoffs. Now, what does he want? If he stayed with Dallas, Dallas is just like Utah, built to win now. All Dallas is missing, really, is a rim running 5. That's all they need. If you give Brunson and Doncic a defensive rim protecting, rebounding 5, I don't know. They're going to be tough. Okay. So now, if you're Dallas, that's what you're looking for. If you're Mark Cuban, you're trying to convince them to catch. Well, you don't got to convince Doncic. He locked up to a supermax. You got to convince Jalen. Here's your $90 million. This is what we're trying to do. We can win a chip here. Now, if you're Jalen, you got a decision to make. Do you stay in Dallas and get that chip, or try to get it? Or do you come to New York because your dad wants you to come to New York? Your dad and you have deep roots with Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau watched you grow up. The president was your agent and your dad's agent. The president's son is your present agent. You know all about New York, and you're not scared of the Madison Square Garden lights, and they will give you the keys. It's your team. You'll have all of the players. You'll have R.J. Barrett. You'll probably have Mitchell Robinson if you're coming. You're going to have Cam Reddish. You're going to have Obi Toppin. You're going to have Quentin Grimes. You're going to have a young crew of players that's going to respect you as the leader. But they may not pay you $90 million. They may pay you $80 million. Now you got a decision to make. Are you coming? That's what we're dealing with right now with Jalen Brunson. Because I don't think there's any question the Knicks are interested in him. At the very least, what they did by showing up, I thought about why did they show up at the game and make it so public? You know, I wondered why they did that. I said, I would have sat in the booth and not let anybody know I was there. But you know what they just did by doing that? They raised the price. They raised the price of Jalen Brunson. That's what they did. Along with Brunson's obvious performance. By them coming there, just sitting there. It's like in The Godfather, when Michael Corleone was on trial, right? Because Frankie Pantangelis decided to turn on him because he thought Michael had turned on him. But then Frankie Pantangelis' brother came into the courtroom and just sat there. He ain't had to say nothing. And Frank saw him. And all of a sudden he couldn't remember anything he said. And he said, nah, I don't know nothing about Michael Corleone. I made everything up. Because his brother was sitting there. Just his presence changed the whole game. And it's the same thing here. When the Knick brass came to that game, they didn't have to say nothing. Just their presence changed the game. It raised the price. Okay? It made people know we're interested. And we're willing to pay because we New York. Don't worry about the cap space. That's the Don's problem. He'll get that figured out. You talking about $20 million? Please. He can get that figured out. Okay? But this is going to be very interesting this summer. So now, let's talk about what we have as possibilities with the New York Knicks. We know we got Emmanuel Quickly. And we know we got Deuce. Okay? We got these two kids that the Knicks drafted. Okay? That I feel very confident going forward with. Very confident. One's 21, one's 22. Very confident going forward. Okay? Not worried about that. But if you want to turbocharge the rebuild, you got Brunson that can come over here and cost us nothing. I mean, nothing. Dallas already said they're not doing a sign and trade. So they putting all of their chips in the middle of the table, and they're saying, "Here, Jalen, we're gonna throw." I'm telling you, it's gonna probably be $90 million. We throwing $90 million at you. What you want to do? We got this championship we got to win. What you want to do? And Jalen got to decide: do I want to go to New York and get the keys, or do I want to stay in Dallas where Doncic has the keys and I'm gonna be Robin? I don't know. I can't tell you what he's going to decide. I feel like though, if he's a natural leader, there's a two-way street that could go. In other words, he can decide, I'm a natural leader. I need my own team. Well, here we come to New York. Or he could decide, I'm a natural leader and I know how to be humble and let someone else lead if they can help us win. Well, he stays in Dallas. I don't know what he's going to do. It's going to be interesting though. But as far as Donovan Mitchell, I still think that's more unlikely because of how much it's going to cost. You're dealing with Danny Ainge. And so he may just tell Donovan Mitchell, I'm sorry, son. You under contract for 3 seasons. You staying with us. And he could do that. And there's nothing Donovan Mitchell can do. Donovan Mitchell ain't no drama queen like Ben Simmons. So he ain't going to act up like that. He's going to be a soldier and play. Okay? And Danny Ainge knows that. So I think the Donovan Mitchell thing, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm telling you it's highly unlikely. But on the other hand, the Jalen Brunson, that, like I said, what does Jalen want? What does he want? If he wants his own team on Madison Square Garden floor under the lights, it's there for him. It's there for him. Okay? So, brethren, for these, was the 29th of April, right? So we find out where we drafted on May 17th. That's going to be important for multiple reasons. Number one, where we drafting is how much talent we could get, right? Easier to get the talent at the top of the draft if we up there. Number two, if we're going to keep the pick, we got options to put a player in that could help us. Number three, if we're going to trade the pick, some other team's going to want a talent at the top of the draft for somebody. Big time this is for the Knicks. Then after that, draft night itself. Trades are going to happen on draft night. Period. Then July 1st and free agency. And brethren, it's going to be lit this summer. It's going to be lit from the time you get to May 17th through the end of free agency. It's going to be lit. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, this playoffs, like I've been telling y'all from last year, we've been talking about this, and I'm not the only one, but I'm just saying is that there's a lot of parity in the NBA right now. I haven't seen this much parity in a long time. I can't tell you who's going to come out of the East and out of the West because the teams are so evenly matched. There's such precious, tremendous basketball atmosphere right now. Enjoy this because you may not see it like that forever. This is really good. So you got multiple teams that can come out of each conference. There's 8 teams left and I can't count nobody out. All right. Because they're all really good. So that's good. So it's a good time to be a basketball fan. It's a great time to be a Knicks fan because we're about to make some moves. Those moves are in different people's head. What's in Donovan Mitchell's head? What's in Jalen Brunson's head? What's in Mark Cuban's head? What's in Leon Rose's head? What's in the draft? What's in Walt Perrin's head? What's in Tom Thibodeau's head? How are they coming together? It's all going to be shown in the next few weeks. It's going to be lit. It's going to be lit. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but these are the players. These are the situations. I wanted to break that down to you. You know, instead of just being NBA 2K, let's just trade this and let's go get that. No. You got to look at the salaries. You got to look at the players. What do these guys want? What have they said? Well, we know Brunson wants to come to New York if he's not going to stay in Dallas. We know Mitchell's interested in New York also. These we know. We're not guessing. You're not having to figure out what's in their mind. That's in their mind. Only question is, do they want to stay in their same location or not? We'll find out. Please be safe out there. Enjoy your weekend. Those of you coming to POPO on Sunday, we look forward to seeing you. It's going to be lit there too. We're going to have a good time. We had a really good time the last Sunday. We'll have a good time this time. Be safe out there. Shalom.